The article comes from Nintendo enthusiasts as well. Nintendo forces GitHub to take down GBA Emulator after DMC complaints. So, so that's the words. The article begins, it says, the war between Nintendo versus the emulation continues with yet another battle going down in the Big N's favor. The company recently filed a DMCA takedown against GitHub due to it hosting an online GBA emulator, that's Game Boy Advance. GitHub's caved in and abided by the complaint, thus shutting down the emulator. Now, it must be noted that emulators technically are legal. They only end up falling into the red zone if it ends up being found that the official code has been used to create them, or when BIOS files are openly distributed. The online GBA emulator in particular gave players access to free versions of various titles by means of JavaScript. It's most likely this functionality that gave Nintendo legal grounds to file the DMCA complaint, as this would count as piracy. This move from Nintendo comes just days after it filed a massive lawsuit against the company behind LoveRoms.com and LoveRetro.co. That is worth $100 million. Rather swiftly, both websites were shut down after the lawsuit was officially filed. It's currently unknown how the situation has continued to unfold between the Love companies and Nintendo. In any case, one thing is clear: Nintendo really isn't pleased with unauthorized recreation of its IP. On top of these cases, the company has also been actively trying to thwart the progress of Switch hackers.
Yeah, so this, it's not uncommon for a company to go after people like leaking stuff or hacking and everything. But I thought this was interesting because here in just a few months, Nintendo's going to be releasing their online service, which is going to allow people to play and purchase some of the older retro games on their system, sort of like what the Virtual Console was for the Wii U. So I think all of this is just Nintendo kind of preparing the marketplace for their official launch of their games. So I was, mentioning earlier, like, if someone doesn't care about, downloading whatever games they want, then what's stopping them from like, oh, okay, well, I can buy this game on Nintendo Switch for $8, $10, $15, or I can just download it and play it on my PSP or whatever, because that's basically what almost everyone bought the PSP for, was to play old Nintendo games, not the actual PSP games. But
sadly, sad truth.
But yeah, I think this is just Nintendo kind of preparing for that. Whether it be them, they mentioned the Game Boy Advance emulator here, where you can just, play the game online with JavaScript instead of having to download anything. So, if someone really wants to go back and play like Minish Cap, then they can just open a web browser and play it, as opposed to paying the $10 to Nintendo. So I think this is just Nintendo kind of preparing so they can make money and not have competition with other companies. But what do you guys think? Again, starting with you, Stealth.
I think that even if Nintendo wasn't launching its online soon, they still would have gone after this emulator, because Nintendo historically has just the idea that they're losing a sale on emulation or like bootleg games or like anything like that. They go after those outfits really hard. This isn't even like the first this year they've gone after. So yeah, I mean, I do think that, downloading old games through their online will be like a major source of revenue for them, but I think they would have gone after them anyway, quite frankly.
Do you expect them to like release some sort of emulator at the launch of their online service for the Switch, or do you think that's something that's still like 6 months to a year away?
Even like 2, 3, 4 years away. I'm not really sure that they're all that concerned about it. That that they really like the indie scene is blown up on Switch, and a big part of that is because they haven't flooded their online marketplace with like all their downloadable titles. So I think they're trying to still balance how that's going to work. But yeah, just go after any outfit that would try to pirate or bootleg their games.
All right, Daniel, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, kind of along the same lines of stuff. Like they have been known to shut down fan projects, emulators, past things like that. And kind of like what the article said is technically the emulator is not illegal, but as soon as they start offering the games for free, that's when Nintendo is like, again, that meme, DMs to Takedown. Yeah, I mean, it's not too surprising. It's not out of character for Nintendo to crack down on people. I kind of am on the mindset where I see, like, they are going to launch their online service soon. They are supposed to be launching the sort of, Nintendo Classics is what they're calling it now instead of Virtual Console. We've already had Virtual Console on other consoles in the past where you can get GBA games. So none of this strikes me as out of the ordinary. It does seem like they're kind of gearing up to possibly have GBA titles on Switch, since the Switch is kind of in its own right a giant GBA anyway. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next. But it seems to kind of fall in line with what I expect from Nintendo already. So that's all I gotta say about that.
Kayla, do you have any thoughts?
I hope that they come out with something, because I have to admit that I love older games. I love being able to play them. However, I have never always been fortunate enough to ensure that I actually have the means to play them. So, like, for instance, like, I don't have a Super Nintendo right now. I recently bought my NES Mini, which is awesome. SNES Mini is ugh.
I've got two if you want to borrow a Super Nintendo. Or I have two N64s as well. I have a problem.
And you recently bought the extra Wii U.
Two Wii U's. I have a problem. Yes, you can borrow games if you want.
Thank you, Daniel. You continue to amaze me every day. Oh my goodness, amazing. Okay. Well, I would personally love to be able to, like, officially emulate games through Nintendo instead of emulating them through side companies like CoolROM, Dolphin, and, like, I love the things that they do, like, those emulators, like, provide for us, but I feel, as someone that loves Nintendo, I feel wrong playing games from Nintendo, but not playing it on a Nintendo console. So...
yeah. Something about that. There's an authentic hardware experience that's kind of meaningful.
Yeah, exactly.
Well.
And, like, there are things that you can do to make it a little bit more authentic to play on your computer when you emulate, but it's just not really the same. And because I'm a big supporter of Nintendo, like, I would love to support them in their emulating decisions. However, I hope that it doesn't come with a very heavy cost.
Well, I mean, downloading games on Wii U's Virtual Console was, or even the Wii's, is
yeah, it was
never.
Cheap.
Yeah, it's very affordable for those old games, since they don't have to, like, actually print a cartridge for them, right? Super Metroid was like $8, I'm pretty sure, and that game, or Earthbound was like $8, and then if you try and get a physical cartridge of it, you're looking at like $200 because it's Earthbound. But legitimately, if you look online for a cartridge of Earthbound, it's ridiculously expensive.
Yes.
But my brother found a cartridge of Super Metroid, and it was like cost us like $70. We went in on it together. But
wow.
Yeah, just downloading it, $8, real simple, and it's not like the original hardware, sure, but then you also get the benefit of, like, save states, right? So
yeah.
Yeah, it was worth it to download, I think. But again, it's a convenient way. It's affordable. For me, if it's convenient, I'd rather not pirate.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like, even if it's the thing that's weird though is like, I can't imagine them doing this for Nintendo Switch and being able to take these games that you emulate on the go. Like, that just seems weird. I don't know.
Not if you download them though. Onto
I don't
the console?
know. I don't know. It just feels really weird to be able to take like an old game on the go with me. It's like I feel like I'm like in the past, but I'm living in the future, which I think would be amazing. But
Yes.
sorry, I'm just.
But I mean, like the file sizes for those old games are like tiny, you know. So I feel like it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to be able to just download a game real quick,
Yeah.
and then you can take it with you. That's part of the magic of Switch, isn't it? You know, the portability. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Please, Nintendo, give us a way to play your game.
Yes.
All right.
I want to download Super Mario Bros. 3 for the 20th time.
All right. Does anyone have any final thoughts before we move on to the final piece of news?
I'm good.
All right.
Also, if you guys have been wondering why I'm like looking down all the time, I'm actually picking at that gross nail that I was showing you.
Stop! Don't show me.
Cameron is now pointing and shaming me
I don't wanna
for
see
picking
it.
at it.
That's
But-
half.
I don't want to see it.
That's half an L.
Yeah, I picked like that, like the. No, I'm not. I'm gonna stop talking
Stop.
about it.
All right.
I'll leave if you bring that nail up again.
So I kind of did this wrong. Usually I would have each person try to do their own piece of, like each host do their own piece of news. But there's some stuff that I was going to add into this next one, so I apologize. Kayla, I should have had you do the first piece of news.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. I mean, I'm kind of returning. You know, I've been off.
Right.
Good news, everyone! I found a place to live. So me
Woo!
streaming and being on the podcast is about to be so much easier. And my boyfriend is going to help me with getting a desktop set up. So expect me to start streaming more regularly.
From the dungeon.
From the dungeon.
I feel like I have to yawn, but it's not coming, and I don't want to.
Just do it. Just
I don't-
pretend to yawn, and then you'll yawn for real.
I don't want to
Just try
like
it.
start the news and then yawn in the middle of it.
Just try it. Just pretend, and then your brain will be like, "Oh, that reminds me."
all right.
And then you just try it, Jesse.
How do you pretend to yawn?
Like, pretending to yawn. Oh, even see, it worked. I just pretended to yawn.
Oh my god. So, Ilya, I see that you're talking about me picking
One
at my
sec.
nail, but this is a different situation. I can't show you because Daniel's gonna leave the way he's leaving right now. But
he left.
so
He sensed it.
I'm not gonna show you guys, but so I got an infection in my nail. And so like all of like half of the top part, it's like not growing in properly anymore. And then there's like this other part and it's like not actually attached to the fingernail. So it's like kind of just like hanging there. Anyway, so I ripped that part off and now I literally only have half a fingernail.
Nice.
Yeah. I was just curious about what it was gonna look like under there. And it just looks like a finger without a nail.
Yeah. I wonder.
Yeah.
All right, rank the top 5 completely unrealistic reasons Daniel had to leave.
His kitchen was on fire. His son ran outside in the full nude, and he had to go catch him.
What?
We're talking about reasons why you left.
The
sorry.
top. So there wasn't dead silence. The top 5 unrealistic reasons you had to leave.
That last one sounded pretty likely, actually, but no, I was just helping him open. He got a snack, so I was just helping him open it up.
Aww.
That's all it was.
All
Nothing exciting. But it's so hot in my place that I'm not even bothered by the fact that he just doesn't want to be dressed right now. So he's just
Honestly,
wearing like
that's
a pair of
me.
very short shorts It is so hot. Like, I don't know if you see me wiping my face, but it's just like I'm just so sweaty right now. It's so hot in my place.
No, it's hot here as well. It's usually like really cool because where I have the air conditioning set, it's really hot right now. And then
I was gonna say I recently
easier.
I got air conditioning for Cameron's place, so now his place is so nice and cold. And then I'm moving into the dungeon, which is a basement, so I don't have to worry about heat. Life is good. Anyways, let's move on.
Yeah.
See.
So, trying to figure this out in my head, because most of the stuff isn't going to be on this. Like, this article is like absolutely everything on the next Zelda game, and then it has like 3 or 4 things. Like there's a bunch of stuff that it doesn't have. So I'm trying to. All right.
As a side note, everyone in the chat was saying how they ended up yawning too, so it worked.
I'm yawning again.
Yeah, it's all mind games. Like with yawn,
oh no!
They are seriously contagious.
Sorry that your airline lost your stuff. Your beard is gonna be forever curly because your beard stuff is probably in there. Guys, stop yawning!
I'm sorry!
Alright.